Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So we have been witnessing some pretty big moves happening around Congress, specifically around stablecoins. Now, we do know that RLUSD is making a lot of noise, especially as of late, but I do think that it's going to continue to grow. And I actually think that RLUSD is going to be, a lot more integrated into the US financial system than a lot of people are actually perceiving. But before we really kind of get into that, I do want to start off this video talking about some recent developments. Number one, we have here from Coinbase Institutional. We're excited to announce that Coinbase Derivatives has filed with the CFTC to self-certify XRP futures, bringing a regulated capital-efficient way to gain exposure to one of the most liquid digital assets. We anticipate the contract going live on April 21st. Now, this is a great initiative. I think that they just recently added Hedera as well to this platform, so love to see it. Now, I haven't really been using this exchange or anything like that because, I don't really use Coinbase all that much, if I'm being honest with you guys. But we do know that the platform has been growing. For example, they recently put out a post talking about how, this has been growing and how they already have over 400 billion plus assets on the platform. And also $364 billion in quarterly institutional trading volume. So these are very significant, factors to take into account because of how big the platform has grown to. They also have 430 plus assets supported for custody and 250 plus assets available for trading. And now XRP is one of them. So we love to see that. And I just think that institutional grade adoption is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And these platforms like Coinbase Institutional will start to see a lot more growth around them as well. Now, outside of that, recently we did talk about a post made from Jack McDonald. This was actually in response to Ripple's recent announcement how they're going to tie RLUSD into Ripple payments. And CZ actually from Binance did quote it, and he said, stablecoin war, healthy competition just getting started. And yeah, listen, we know that the stablecoin war is ongoing. And I do think that RLUSD is starting to catch up in a big way because of some of the recent releases. For an example, we're already at 290, almost $4 million tied to RLUSD. And by the way, this is also growing around the XRP ledger. Recently on the first, XRP ledger had about $44 million tied to it. Now it has over $94 million. Now we know that Ethereum did take a big spike to the upside. It had roughly back here like 149 million, almost 150 million, and now it has almost $200 million tied to it in terms of stable coins, aka RLUSD, which we love to see. And we could also see down here the percentage that it did gain. So in the last 30 days on the XRP ledger, it gained about 130%, and on Ethereum about 118%. So even though Ethereum has it's actually over 100 million plus more RLUSD released on Ethereum, we are seeing the XRP ledger seeing a lot more growth than the Ethereum side for RLUSD. By the way, holders up almost 400%, over 30,000 plus holders, and monthly transfer volume up 64%, sitting at about almost $1 billion. Love to see it. And also the active addresses up about 28%, nothing too crazy there. But I have been watching this closely because of how significant RLUSD is growing and how big it is becoming, even with the $10 billion worth of trading volume already that it hit, which, is incredible. Now, also, I saw a recent post from Tokenized Podcast, and this actually caught my attention because of what they were talking about. So we have here, first comes on-chain fiat, which is stablecoins. Then comes on-chain FX, multi-stablecoins, multi-currency. That's a big focus. We're going to talk about it here in a second. Now, this is the co-founder and CBO of Bank Finance, BVNK, says that dollar dominance in stablecoins is here to stay in the short term, but to get payments on-chain, we need to create a sophisticated stack. Number one is on-chain treasuries, on-chain currency, which is fiat-backed, aggregation and liquidity, and then the FX market, and then yield generation, which is lending. And then if we come down here and play this video clip, listen closely to what they're talking about.
But I think it gets really interesting when you can put, both fiat currencies, or multiple fiat currencies on a blockchain with the right level of liquidity, where you move, payments fully on-chain and can do on-chain FX, and you can do kind of an execution through a DEX or something like that. So I think I'm excited to see if we head that direction. But today, I'm seeing it super early days, and I guess my view for 25, 26 is still overwhelmingly dollar denominated.
So yeah, I mean, we're obviously going to be seeing a lot of the stablecoins be USD backed, essentially. But one thing that I have been noticing is that we're starting to see the euro side of stablecoins growing in a big way. Now, we know ROUSD is on the XRP ledger. So the XRP ledger already has a great USD stack behind it. But what about the other ones? Because if we're talking about the FX market, which is multi-stablecoins, multi-currency, the FX market is $7.5 trillion per day. And even back over here, if we think about what's going on with the stablecoin growth, 10 billion plus in trading volume already for ROUSD. But remember what Ripple has, stated. They already have 90% of the FX market tapped in. We know the USV stablecoin from Societe Generale will be rolled out on the XRP ledger in this year. They said 2025 for this. So there's a Euro stablecoin alongside a USD stablecoin, two of the biggest players around the FX market. And then also a Brazilian bank, Brasa Bank, is launching their stablecoin, also pegged to the Brazilian real on Ripple's blockchain, the XRP ledger. Again, another huge fiat currency on the XRP ledger. And then the last one to really, seal the deal, RLGBP, a digital pound. When we are thinking about this, the three main ones is a USD, Euro, and a pound stablecoin. If the XRP ledger has all three of those tapped in, the FX market on the XRP ledger will start to form. That means that the XRP ledger will be targeting a $7.5 trillion per day market. If we're thinking about that, that is a massive amount of money per year. Now, is the XRP ledger going to see all of that? Absolutely not. But we're talking about almost $2.8 quadrillion in terms of value moved per year that is starting to move on chain because of the tokenized fiat currencies, aka stablecoins, becoming a reality. Now, on top of that, we recently just saw a huge video clip from Young Kim, and we have stablecoins can not only help Americans grow their wealth, but also promote US values and leadership both here at home and around the world. I'm proud to join Rep. Brian Steele in introducing the Stable Act to create a framework to help us promote innovation and protect consumers. And if you guys did miss this, guess what? Yes, the Financial Committee passed the Stable Act. Final vote was 32-17. Stablecoin regulations are incoming. Big shout to Subjective Views. Here we actually have from the Financial Committee. We have the facts around the Stable Act establishes a regulatory framework for payment stablecoins, balances innovation with strong consumer protections, ensures the U.S. remains at the forefront of digital asset development, provides clear regulatory guardrails, and works to modernize the U.S. payment system. This is absolutely massive. And let's dive on into this video clip really addressing this.
Thank you, Chairman Hill, for recognizing me to speak on this very important piece of legislation. I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Bipartisan Stable Act, and I believe that it builds upon our long-standing principle of fostering innovation in America and sharing it with the world. This principle has endured for decades across Republican and Democratic administrations, and it has repeatedly been reaffirmed in bills passed by Congress. As I have met with industry experts and consumers, I am always left with one takeaway. Blockchain technology is the key to promoting social good here at home and internationally. Over the last 2 years, we have heard examples of stable coins that reduce cross-border transaction fees by over 14 times. As a result, U.S. aid can be delivered more efficiently, and we can better uphold American values and interests around the world. Domestically, President Trump has made it clear that he wants to see the federal government take advantage of digital payments. Stablecoins could enable us to deploy aid to wildfire-afflicted communities in Southern California faster and with greater transparency. There are benefits of stablecoins for our country that we have not even begun to explore. That is why I was pleased to see the inclusion of an impact study in the amendment in the nature of a substitute offered today. The report that will be produced from the impact study will provide key findings on domestic and cross-border payments, benefits that stablecoins could bring to the global south, and how to reinforce the role of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. At the end of the day, the Stable Act is focused on answering the question of how to build jobs and investment in America and spread American values across the world. Mr. Chairman, let me add one other point. The story of this country is the innovation sparked in garages and classrooms. Those of us in California have witnessed that firsthand with all the innovative companies that call our state home. The state charter pathway that is included in this bill would preserve that innovation by giving small companies access to a regulator tailored to their risk and size. I know some may fear the preparedness of state regulators to handle the stablecoin industry. However, these state regulators will work in lockstep with the Treasury Department to ensure that their regulatory frameworks are certified as consistent with those at the federal level. This dual pathway will be critical to fostering the type of innovation that has come to define our country. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and Mr. Stile for the hard work that you have both done on this legislation. I urge my colleagues to support this measure, and I yield back the balance of my time.
So at the end of the day, right, what we are now starting to see on center stage in front of Congress is the accelerated push on not only getting regulations accelerated, but also it's now time to adopt, utilize, and promote the use of digital assets, and also integrate these specific things like stablecoins within the US financial system. Why? Because the overall amount of innovation, the growth around this space as well, not to even mention, right, the job growth. Like, think about how many jobs would, be open in the US now if we had all of these big innovations thriving in the US. I mean, crypto exchanges themselves are hiring hundreds of thousands of, employees. And this is where we start to see a lot of the economic growth happening that we saw during, like, for an example, the .com boom happening again with the crypto boom. But I also want you guys to understand that as we start to see these things moving forward, the focus on utility-based projects becomes so much bigger, which means if we're really thinking about this, with Congress pushing forward on regulations, the adoption, the integration, the modernization of the US payment system using these utility-based projects or stablecoins themselves, the underlying networks like the XRP ledger will see so much growth, which means XRP holders technically are getting made rich because of what Congress is doing right now. All of this will lead back to massive amounts of growth, not just around the stablecoin side of things, but around the entire crypto market. We are witnessing history being made here. We're witnessing the same exact moves that were being made around the .com side of things with the internet boom happening now again. But this is going to completely overshadow every single technological innovation in the past because of how significant this technology actually is. If you've been around this space, if you have been doing research on this technology, you know what is capable with this technology. You know that this technology itself is going to power the global financial system. It's going to change the way that we send and receive money. It's going to change the way that we, trade stocks. It's going to trade the way or change the way, that trade is made. AKA, we look at trade finance. Trade finance is being tokenized and made efficient through projects like the XDC network. So when we really think about what's going on here, every single sector, every single industry will be completely changed because of this tech. And it all starts with Congress and the government getting their, things together and starting to push forward on this. And that's exactly what we're now starting to see with the stablecoin, legislation happening, with the Stable Act. I'm very excited about this. I think that Congress is making some very big moves, and I think everyone needs to pay attention to what's actually happening right now within and around Congress. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on for some more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.